Hey, it's Anitra. Thanks for tuning in and watching my video where I just talk about a lot of stuff about healing through cancer. My cute cat makes a cameo, and yeah, I'm just sharing sort of some thoughts and reflections on life and stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Hi, it's Anitra, and wanted to make a little video. I'm all bundled up in my winter wear. It's gotten really cold and snowy where I live, which is it's actually been nice. It's one of the first times I've really enjoyed the snow, and I've lived in the Sierra foothills for 10 years, 11 years. And I have my coffee. I let myself enjoy coffee. I just noticed my zipper's coming undone. So anyway, what's happening for me is, what do I want to say? I'm going down. I'm going to have to cut this because I don't even know what exactly I want to talk about. I guess I want to talk about how really this process has just been the most humbling thing I've ever been through, really. I mean, giving birth was pretty humbling. I just don't really know myself the way that I currently am, and by that I mean the way I look at my body, the way I look at my face, the way I even feel, like even making a video, really. There's a way in which I feel like I used to be so effusive. I used to just have so many things come out of me. I want to say I'm energetic, I'm excited, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And in some ways I'm just more tired. I'm more slowed down. I sometimes wonder if I have dementia. I wonder if, one of the saddest things to me is to see somebody who's suffering and doesn't know they're suffering. You know what I mean? I saw somebody who basically is on drugs and they think they're fine. I mean, they look like an absolute wreck, just on every level. Most people would look at them and dismiss anything they had to say because they were just a complete wreck. But when they speak, I mean, hair crazy, speech crazy, completely dirty, like covered in dirt actually from being homeless. And when they speak, they feel like they make sense. They're saying these really grandiose things, like they're about to buy land. I mean, they don't even have a home. I mean, the point is to say they think that they're well. They think that they're doing well. And yeah, I guess that's just something that's present for me lately, is really just I was going to say the reality of being a human and how hard life can be, I mean, I feel ultimately like we get to say how it's going to go in terms of our experience of it, right? Like, I don't know how much say we have in exactly what happens to us and how, like the hand we're dealt in life, and getting cancer in my case, and somebody else being born in the projects or bad neighborhood or whatever it is, or I don't know how much say we have in that. I know people have different ideas and opinions and viewpoints on that, but I do believe we have a say in what our experience is, because I think that for the most part, anybody who's able to record a video like I am and listen to a video like you are is relatively privileged. And if you're in that category of relatively privileged, you get to say, for the most part, how you're going to handle your life, So, you have to take the extremes out: extremely wealthy and extremely poor, and extremely underprivileged and extremely overprivileged. Those of us in the middle. So I try to remember that, and I mean, it's just things that I've come across over my life where I really think that we are raised in, culturally, societally, to blame everything. We blame Trump, we blame it's funny that he comes out. I just hear, I mean, he's so easy to blame, there's a lot of people who don't like him and don't like what he's doing, and, probably for good reason. But the point is to say, like, at what point do we take our lives in our own hands and take responsibility for it? So, and at the same time, I really, what I'm present to. I just watched this thing on Netflix. I watched some episodes of something called The Kindness Diaries, and I just heard about it from the friend whose house I'm pet sitting at. And the guy goes around and he relies on the kindness of others. He goes from Alaska to the tip of South America, and he has no money on him, so he has to ask for everything that he needs. And anyway, I don't know, before I get all long-winded on that, I think it's really just, his point, as he says it, is, my cat smells the dogs on me. It's funny, animals and smells. His point is to show that there's a lot of kindness in the world, and I think that that's true as well. And also the interconnectedness, interconnectedness, be like inner is here and inter is with the others, that we all have, you know, in the way that we need each other. And I do think we need each other. I think this whole idea that we're all so self-sufficient and so independent and such islands, you know, has caused a lot of loneliness really in the world. And yes, there's a way in which we do need that, and yes, there's a way in which we do need each other. So he basically is like relying on the kindness of everybody to get him there. He's driving a VW Beetle in Alaska in like ice. Oh my God. It was really actually very eye-opening for me, because I'm just such a total wimp about driving in winter conditions because I didn't grow up in it, and I never took the time to learn how to do it. So I actually felt like kind of empowered to watch him do it, you know, and get the help that he needed. And then I just saw a headline in the San Francisco Chronicle that said that there are, I can't remember, I should look it up before I'm even trying to quote it, but it's something like about meth, the death from meth death, and how high it is. And it just really, what that says is, because I talked to a couple people who are so judgmental about people who do meth, and I'm sure I've been judgmental about it at times as well, but there's also really a part of me that, as I've had to understand it a little bit more because of the job that I have as a CASA. You know, a lot of the cases are people that are on meth, and so it's really, that has inspired me to want to understand, like, why would a person choose that, and what, you know, how does that all happen? So, where is it going? Lost my train of thought. This happens. So, I have a cat that wants to be cute with purring and attention. Yeah, anyway, it has me get underneath what makes us choose what we do, you know, addiction, and how do we cope with the struggle, and also how do we take responsibility. So, you know, there's a way in which, like, I don't even really know if I feel like I caused cancer. It's like cancer happened in my body. It happened right here, and spread to the lymph node. And it's like, it's interesting to me to consider where it came from, and I think that continues to be an unanswered question for many. And even those who feel like they have the answer, I mean, it's still controversial, because a lot of things had to come together for that to happen. You know, I think it's partly physical, physiological, partly emotional, partly circumstance, maybe partly environmental. There's a group, and I've talked about it on a video before, who's trying to draw a parallel between early adverse childhood experiences and the development of cancer later in life. And anyway, it's, you know, it's like, we don't really know. And I think if you ask each person who's gotten cancer, they probably have different answers for why they got it. And in the medical establishment, who knows? I think they just say it's unknown. I don't know if they could ever really, I don't think it'll ever really get pinpointed to one thing, because I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a collection, it's an intersection of many things, is what I think. But I think we just always have a choice about how we're going to handle it, and how we're going to be about it, and are we going to be a victim to it. But then I also, you know, I'm not this pie in the sky kind of, I do hear people that are like, oh, you know, what do I want to say? They're just constantly talking about how great they're doing. You know, that's the other side of it. And I do think it's important to be positive, but I also think it's important to be realistic, and to honor when it's difficult, and to be okay with it being difficult. There's nothing wrong with life being difficult. Who said it wasn't supposed to be difficult? It's like, we don't get mad at the rainstorm. We don't get mad at the ocean. We don't get mad at fire. just part of life. You know, we have 7 chakras, and there are lower chakras and higher chakras, and they represent the totality and wholeness of life. And I feel the same way about our experience. I think it's a complete misunderstanding to have the perspective that life is supposed to just be all rainbows and unicorns and love and light, as they say, you know, when people say love and light. And sometimes it seems like they're missing that. What about the times where it feels like hate and dark, you know? And it doesn't mean we need to perpetuate hate and dark, but it's not only love and light. And maybe ultimately it is. Maybe maybe we're born in complete love and light. I do think we are in some ways, although I think getting born is the most traumatic event that we do suffer. Being separated from that oneness and being like birthed into this separate being, and like slowly coming to terms with that as we grow up. So yeah. Anyway, having said all that, I have a meeting with a dermatologist coming up next week, and a meeting with a plastic surgeon, a pre-surgery meeting, and I'm really excited to have this expander placed back in. I've been dealing with this, my squishy boobie that my daughter really wants to get a hold of when I'm done with it, so she could like mutilate it or something. I don't really know. I mean, it's a pretty cool feeling, I will say. It's not a cool feeling to wear, but it's a cool feeling to squish. Hi, kitty. I don't like when my cat snags my clothes. So, and then I'll have surgery on January 3rd, and I'm just looking forward to having... Why are you digging around in my clothes? Oh, you want to get in there? Oh, there's not a lot of room for you. You're too big. Why don't you go behind? How about that? Let's see if that works. Cats are always stealing our thunder, huh? They're so cute. She's going behind my back. So, yeah. Surgery, and I'm excited to just have an expander back in and not have to deal with this thing that like slides down to my waist, and I'm constantly having to pick it up. And I went to yoga yesterday, and it was completely amazing. They did advise me against going. My medical oncologist at Stanford, she said she thinks it's too intense. Oh, you're so cute. I'm gonna go in the Spanky. She likes to hide. She said, I think it's too intense. How about you don't do that? But I really, there are times when I've been suffering in different ways. I've been suffering with my body. I've been suffering with my energy level. Been suffering to some degree with my emotions and just my mental state, and feeling kind of down at times. And I'm like, exercise is so important. And for some reason, I just can't, like, taking a big brisk walk outside or going to the gym just don't do it for me. So I guess it's very hard-headedly decided to go to a lighter temperature, lower temperature hot yoga yesterday, and I feel it today, which feels good. And I'm not going to go very often, and I'm drinking a ton of water and a lot of electrolytes, and I'm just making sure I don't get depleted by it, because I want to do it in a way that works, because I was a total beast before cancer. I mean, I'm serious. I worked out a lot. I did a lot of exercise, and every day, sometimes multiple times a day even. And so it's just a major departure from that person who I knew myself to be to this person who I currently am. And I'm really like doing my best to recognize, okay, that's where I was and this is where I am. But that's why I went, and I felt so good at going, and I didn't do a lot of head below the heart, because that actually is really hard. That's hard for me in that, like, a lot of blood is rushing, and I think blood rushing to my brain until my platelets are all the way stable, which who knows if they will ever be. I think they're stable now, but like stable in the normal range, which would be 150,000 or higher, and I don't know what they are right now, but last check they were 50 something, which is fine. It's fine to live with that, but it may not be fine for me to do wild and crazy extreme things with my body. So yeah, I felt so good, and I felt like this really sweet feeling come over me of just like being loving and kind to myself. And as cliche as that can sound, loving kindness, self-care, self-love, I feel like those phrases get thrown about, and I guess in some ways I've sort of felt like, oh God, just another catchphrase on feeling good, you know, and I don't know, I kind of turn my nose up at that because I want to feel authentic. I mean, I want to feel good, but I would rather, instead of pretending I feel good when I don't feel good, like that drives me crazy, the inauthenticity of like, no, I'm actually hurting right now, but like people smile instead of saying, oh, I'm in pain. I can't stand that. So, I get all tangential on myself about whatever I was on my soapbox about that. It just, so yeah, loving kindness. And I just felt this warm wash over my heart, over my body. And I think it's just like a sweet and slow surrender into getting older, into aging, into life changing, into my daughter growing up, into accepting that I had a divorce and got through all that, and accepting the things in my upbringing and childhood that were difficult or I fought against inside myself for many years. It's, you know, it's just, there's something about being in a yoga room for me that really brings to life, like, a lot of wisdom comes in during that time. I think maybe it's because I'm quiet and I'm open, and you know, so much of the time we're going around full of so many ideas, and that there's really not a lot of room for anything else to come in. You know, we're busy, we keep this busy schedule, we have opinions about everything, we lose our curiosity, and like going into a yoga room is like a time to just get silent. It's like meditation, you know. Get silent, get the body quiet, get the mind still, or at least more still, and just listen. And so it really is a spiritual experience for me, and I guess I never really named it that way. I always saw it a little bit more like my exercise. But it feels important. It feels really important. So I'm not going to go today. I'm tomorrow, so between today and tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I'll go to the gym. Because I also believe in weights. I believe in the importance of doing weights as well, especially getting older. And having strong muscles to support our bones. Because that seems to be a real thing. It's like more brittle bones, falls, like old people falling is a huge problem. And breaking bones and stuff. So I'm going to do my best to stay strong through this aging process. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts about what's up and how it's going. And I do feel a little bit more grounded in myself, which is really nice and really welcome, and slowing down and taking breaths and remembering I'm healing, and trying to treat this time as sacred, you know, sacred time to continue to heal and not needing to just fill my time with all the busy work of life. Feels really important, so I'm doing my best to keep that going and to just focus on healing and focus on my well-being, because that feels like it's still the most important thing. So anyway, thanks for being with me, thanks for listening, thanks for caring, and thanks for sharing your comments when you do. I really appreciate it. I value a few of the friendships and connections I've made on YouTube through videos, and yeah, it means a lot, so thank you.